All right, welcome everyone. Are you a realtor who wants to learn how to use artificial intelligence to create a social media campaign for the entire year in just 20 minutes? Well, then you're in the right place. I've got a treat for you. Got my good friend Blake Watson's going to be talking to us. So welcome to the RAMS Agents Talk Real Estate. This is the training series for real estate agents, brokers, and realtors. Today's speaker is Blake Watson, and the title of his talk is How Realtors Use AI to Create Social Media Marketing Campaign for an Entire Year in just 20 minutes. Now, Blake is a real estate agent. He's licensed in both Tennessee and Georgia. He hosts two podcasts. One is called Let's Talk Chattanooga Real Estate, and the second is called the Marketing AI Podcast. So be sure to check those out. He also co hosts a weekly radio show in his area called Your Home Radio. In 2025, this year, Blake began leveraging the power of artificial intelligence to help him in all aspects of his real estate business. And today, he's here to share some of those insights and give us some guidance on how you can also use AI to get more done in less time. So now let's get on to the show and the presentation, our good talk here. Please mute yourself, by the way. Make sure you're always muted so we get a good recording. And then we'll have you ask any questions at the end of the chat. At the end of the presentation, you can unmute yourself, or you can also put your questions into the chat as we're going along. So if you have a question, you don't want to forget it, go ahead and type it into the chat and we'll get to it at the end. All right, so now please everybody give a great big welcome to Blake Watson.
Thank you very much, Mike. Thank you for the introduction. It's great to see everyone. Thank you for attending today. We'll make it pretty quick so that you can see this and you're going to see it in real time. So you're going to be able to see how quickly you can really plan out a social media campaign for the entire year. What we're going to do today is going to use ChatGPT because that is the most famous AI tool that's out there. There are certainly others, and you can use whatever you're comfortable with, and this will most likely work very well with that. But the way we're going to start today is using ChatGPT, and I'm going to show you on screen how we actually go through a plan of building 52 week. It's going to be one per week Facebook posts, and that's going to be the way we start. And if you can build a 52 Facebook post campaign for the year, then you can build two 52 a week Facebook posts. So the idea being that you could have a Monday post, a Wednesday post, a Friday post that you've already planned out for the entire year. That's what we're really trying to do today, is show you how to do that. And then you fill in with the things that you would normally be posting on Facebook, your personal things, your open houses, your listings, just some activity you might be doing in real estate. So that's how we're going to go today. I'm going to get you started with a structure, a way to create not just one, but multiple posts per week. And in fact, today we're just going to do one per week so you can see that within 20 minutes. So right now I'm going to start screen sharing, and I'm going to share with you. Should be all right. It's got me on screen 3 there. Let's see if you are going to see. You should be seeing my cursor kind of moving around where it says, "What can I help with?"
We see it. We see it, Blake.
Perfect. Okay. So this screen is ChatGPT. This is what it looks like. If you're not familiar with ChatGPT, I mean, you've certainly heard of it, but hopefully you've utilized it some. Why don't I just get a quick show of hands for those who are on video to give me an idea of who actually uses ChatGPT on occasion, at least. Okay, so this may be new information to a lot of folks. So chatgpt.com, that's where I am. And you can utilize this. You can set up a free account. You do not have to pay for ChatGPT. I happen to use a paid subscription because it just gives me more memory and a little bit more tools, but it's not necessary. You can use ChatGPT for free. So up here, I'm at chatgpt.com. I've already set up an account, and that's me, Blake Watson. So if you're unfamiliar with ChatGPT, this is how it works. We are going to use this bar right here, which is not unlike a Google search bar. It's just like you would if you're using Google, you usually would type in some keywords or find a restaurant near me or whatever it may be. But you would type that in right here where my cursor is. Well, what we're going to do is treat ChatGPT like a personal assistant, a very smart and creative personal assistant. And ChatGPT is going to be able to interact with us really in regular language. That's what I'm going to be doing is asking, when it says ask anything, I'm going to ask ChatGPT to help me. And so you've heard the word prompts being used in, well, you may not have heard that word, but that is what we call it when we're using AI, and specifically this is called a large language model AI. ChatGPT is in that category. And ChatGPT, you can type a prompt, and that's what I'm doing right here in this bar. This is the prompt bar, and I'm going to type in my first prompt to get us started on this campaign. And the first prompt, I'm going to tell ChatGPT what I am, who I am. I'm a real estate agent. And incidentally, if I misspell or do poor grammar, ChatGPT is very forgiving and can read right through that usually. It's not a big deal if you miss something. So I'm a real estate agent in Chattanooga, Tennessee. The first thing I'm doing is telling ChatGPT who I am, giving the AI the opportunity to understand where we're coming from, what we're trying to do. Now you can go at this point would be a good place to explain further what you do. I'm leaving it very open. I'm a real estate agent in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I could put I help first-time home buyers to buy their homes. That I focus on first-time home buyers, or I work heavily with land or with folks who are downsizing or relocation, whatever it is, you can add that information here because you want ChatGPT to understand who you are and where you're coming from. So I'm just going to go with I'm a real estate agent here, and I want to create 52 weeks of content for Facebook is what I'm going to use. You could put Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever you want. Here's where I'm going to ask ChatGPT to help me out. ChatGPT to help me out. Give me 10 catchy titles for a weekly series of posts. And I'm going to suggest so it gets an idea of what I'm talking about, like first time buyer Fridays, or maybe home tip Wednesdays. See, I'm giving it the idea to give me a list of or some titles that I could use that I could then work with. Now, what I did, I hit the I just realized I did it without explaining, but I basically hit enter. I hit the button there so that it went ahead, I clicked on it, and it understood. Now, the amazing thing about ChatGPT is it fills in the blanks in your like that communication I gave it was only it didn't have a lot to work from, actually. I gave it a really rough idea, but it went ahead and said, hey, Weekly series with a consistent theme builds familiarity and authority. So it's already understanding where I'm going with this. Here are 10 catchy title ideas tailored for your Chattanooga real estate brand, and you can be flexible with both educational and local interest posts. So here's some ideas that ChatGPT has given me. Now, remember, I mentioned the first time buyer Fridays. I wanted it to understand where I was going with this. Now, it doesn't have to be alliteration like this, first time Fridays. You don't have to have that. Mortgage Mondays, Title Talk Tuesdays, Market Pulse Mondays, Investor Insights Thursdays. It doesn't have to be that it's a specific day of the week. I like doing it that way, and I would suggest you do that because it gives your Facebook audience or your Instagram audience, whoever you're working with there, it gives them something that you're able to kind of hang your hat on. I'm the realtor who gives you the first time buyer Fridays. Every Friday you can count on a tip. Or like these feature home Fridays, home tip Wednesdays, spotlight Saturdays, transformation Tuesdays. Look at and ChatGPT has given us some ideas of what each one of these would be. Transformation Tuesdays, before and after stories, staging tips, or renovation ideas. What a great subject to try and cover with a weekly post. Local Love Thursdays. This is where you're doing kind of a tour of your town. Celebrate Chattanooga's best parks, restaurants, or weekend events. Local Love Thursday. I love it. Anyway, you got some great ideas here. All I was doing was asking ChatGPT to help me with some ideas. And it threw these out right away. That's where that creativity, where that creative assistant element comes in. Now, check this out. You'll love this because ChatGPT usually anticipates what my next needs are. Would you like me to map out a full 52-week content plan using a few of these themes? As a matter of fact, I would. So a lot of times, ChatGPT kind of anticipates what your next step would be. It suggests what's going to happen next. So all I would have to do is say yes down here in this prompt bar. But I'm going to go through it a little bit differently so um, you can see each element of this. I could just say yes and let it ride, and that would be fine. But what I'm going to do is create a list. I'm going to choose one of these, and I like the Home Tip Wednesdays. That's kind of the one I was working with in the past as an idea. Uh, and you don't have to write please give. You can just write give. But I like being polite to ChatGPT just as, just as I would with a human assistant. Please give me a list of, I don't know if you can see this at the bottom. Can you see that okay down there? I don't know if I can, yeah. So I'm at the very bottom, typing in the prompt bar. Please give me a list of 52 homeowner tips. And like I said, it's pretty forgiving. I'm going to leave that alone right there, and you'll see that it's actually pretty forgiving on language and typing. And I'm going to ask it to give me 52 homeowner tips that could be short Facebook posts throughout the year as part of a weekly home tip Wednesdays post series. And I'm going to ask it just to give me the headline at this point. The headline or general tip, and we'll work on the details later. See, I'm explaining so chat knows what I'm up to, and we'll work on the details later. That's what I'm asking. I want it to give me a list of 52 homeowner tips with a short little headline. So now I'm going to hit this. I could just hit enter, or I can press this button right here. I'm going to click on it right there. So I just clicked on it. ChatGPT goes to work. So here it is creating right before our eyes 52 home tip Wednesdays. And as it says, it's designed for Chattanooga homeowners. It can be turned into a short Facebook post, quick tip, image, or short video. So we'll talk about that in just a moment. Notice how it created these. It's given me, there's 10, and there's another 10. It's kind of grouping them: home maintenance and repairs, outdoor and curb appeal, energy efficiency, home improvement and DIY, and then seasonal and safety, and then a couple more: home comfort and style. And it asks me, do you want to do a seasonal posting plan? Well, what I'm going to do, I don't want these all to be grouped just by category. I could do that, but I don't want them to. I actually want to shuffle them so that I use them throughout the year. And I would like them to be seasonally appropriate. So down here at the bottom, I'm going to use a prompt, and I'm going to ask it to shuffle these 52 tips into an order that is seasonally appropriate. And like I said, it really, I don't have to type it perfectly, even though I'm kind of a stickler for typing it correctly. But seasonally appropriate, starting. Well, I don't actually have to give it the date, but I'm going to go with January 7th, 2026, which is the first Wednesday in January. And it's going to give me the list. I just hit I hit send. I clicked on the arrow there. So here it's going to group them seasonally. It's already given me the date and everything here. January, test the smoke and CO detectors to start the year safely. January 14th, change your HVAC. January 21st, set your water heater to 120 degrees for safety and savings. This is kind of late in the year to be checking your chimney. This is part of why I look at all of these. It's important that this is not a cut and paste kind of thing. You got to think a little bit here too. Even let ChatGPT be your assistant, but think while you're at it. It says check your chimney before using the fireplace. You would want this to be at a different time of year. So you can go down here and tell, I mean, I would think you'd want that like in October, probably, or maybe September, probably October for sure, but not January 28th. You've been burning, you've been burning your fireplace for a while. So I could ask to reshuffle or change specifically the January 28th, but this gives me a working list that I can work with. So take a look at this all the way through summer, outdoor seating for summer nights. This is great. Clean and seal your deck before winter weather. It's a great list of tips. As I said, you want to look through them, correct, or ask ChatGPT to correct any that you would want it to correct, or change one out. Give me another idea, another tip. You can do that. You love all of them except number 4, checking your chimney. And so you can tell it by just typing that in. I like them all. I'm going to do that, as a matter of fact, and get rid of that one. Them all except number 4. Please give me a fresh idea for the January 28th tip. And let's see what we come up with. Yeah. That's a great time for something indoors, practical. And see, it's giving me some ideas even. Option two. Okay. And it keeps going on. I'm going to go with option one. Let's use option one. It's that simple. And then I just hit enter, and now it has corrected this. Look at that. It took out the check your chimney. Um, Now I didn't go through the whole list there. I've already got the whole list. I'm just scrolling back up. I can scroll back up and see the whole list. And it remembers that whole list. So I can reference the whole list. I don't have to cut and paste it again or anything like that. It knows it's got the whole thing. So here it is already suggesting to me, would you like to generate the next step, a caption template and photo video idea for each January post to keep it visually consistent? That is our next step, is to create the actual tips. There's not a tip here yet, other than just, well, I guess it is test smoke and CO detectors, start your year safely. I'm going to ask it to go ahead and give me a little more information to put on each tip. So it's a little more detailed. So I'm going to ask, this is my next post, or I'm sorry, not post, but prompt. Prepare a Facebook post with each of these tips for Home Tip Wednesdays. Each tip should be a headline. That's what we already have. And then a paragraph or two for further explanation and detail, uh, explanation, detail, or a practical way to make the tip happen. Um, and then I'm going to say this will be the format for each tip to be used as a Facebook post. I don't know that I actually need that last sentence, but I'm going to put it in there. It's always wise to keep ChatGPT aware of what you're trying to ultimately accomplish. So I just let it rip, and it's going to start. There you go. It's giving me a little more info. See, now I have a true tip. This isn't just a sentence. It's actually giving me some actual information. And incidentally, while ChatGPT works, you actually see the words typed out as it goes. It's really pretty cool. So there you go. Start the year safely. Safe. Well, it says safe. Test your smoke and CO detectors. Your safety gear needs a checkup too. Start the new year by pressing the test button on everything. If they don't chirp, replace the batteries or entire unit. This is great info. So I now have, now it's going to stop here because this is a lot of content, and it will always give me a point where it stops and says, okay, as you can see here, it says, would you like me to continue in the same format for February's tips next? And I'm going to say yes. It's that simple. I'm just going to say yes, and let's see what happens. And then you'll see how you can make that happen. Usually whenever it's going to have a huge amount of data, which this would be a huge amount of data if you had all 52 weeks with the sentences and paragraphs, and it will be a large amount of data, but it will usually stop and make sure to clarify. And that's what you appreciate. That's why you're having a conversation with ChatGPT so it can clarify. See? So I've got my February list now. And then would you like me to keep going with March post next? I'm not going to say yes because the next thing I actually want to do is show you guys how you can, I mean, this is great. You've got posts now. You've got 52 weeks worth, and you see easily how we can go ahead and get the entire content, 52 weeks worth of fully fleshed out home tips for your, and we came up with this idea, the home tip Wednesdays. And you remember we had a bunch of other ideas. It wasn't just first time Fridays. There was a Mortgage Monday or something like that. I'm sure there. I know there was a financing one in there. Maybe it was Financing Friday. But anyway, you have a whole list of 52 ideas. These are home tips. So I'm going to actually ask it to create a graphic for me. Create a Facebook post graphic using my name and brokerage. And I'm going to give it that. Blake Watson, Epic Realty, and a an image that relates to the tip. Uh, and let's do February 25th first. Okay. So I have just, you saw what I asked. I left it. I didn't explain anything more than just do something. It's almost like, give me something to work with. I didn't have to give it all the details. I didn't have to go say, show me a picture of a foundation. I could have done that, but I didn't. I just had it. Um, I just suggested something and ChatGPT is going to create. And it takes a minute for it to create visuals. I just want you to see how it can create it. Um, and then we'll go to a couple of other tools that I use. One that I use regularly, because I actually would suggest that you don't use a graphic like this. I think I am a very big believer in video and using video. And my suggestion would be that you take these 52 home tips and create a video each week, or batch them and do, 6 or 8 of them at a time. You probably wouldn't want to do the whole year because you might want them more seasonally, like that. And you want to be dressed appropriately. And you don't want to, when November comes around, you don't want to look like you did back in January, right? You want it to be pretty accurate to how you look. So here, look at this graphic. This is what this is. Now it did not, fill in all of the things because I just gave it a very generic, try this out. Give me a graphic using my name and brokerage. Here is an image that it created. Pretty good image. I mean, it's got, a checking of the foundation. Then I could go back. I could put this on Facebook, that graphic, and amazingly, I don't know how it figured out the logo, but it did. That's pretty close to my company logo. Maybe from something else I've used in the past, but I didn't ask it to put a logo on there. It just did that. And then I go back, and as part of my content on Facebook, the text part, where you write what you're thinking about on Facebook, I'll put this stuff. I'll put this content here. Before spring rains arrive, take a quick walk around your home's foundation. And so that's going to be the text involved in the post. It doesn't have to be on the actual image. The image is there to get you an idea. Okay, so there's that. I'm going to show you just real quickly how I would suggest you do this on video, and then I think we can pause and take questions because we really do want you to see that you can do this in 20 minutes. So I use a tool for video that allows me to, it's called Big View Teleprompter. It's an app. If you have not used, if you don't have an app that helps you to create video, here's a great suggestion for you because it's a great tool. I used to work in television advertising, and this was just coming on and news reporters were using this to help them with their reading. Big View is a teleprompter that appears on your phone, on your cell phone. Um, I have just written in a home tip here. I could have cut and pasted the content, but I'm going to let you see what it's going to look like. And I'm going to actually hit record, and you'll see it's going to count me down. And then it's using my camera on my phone. It's actually recording right now, and as you can see, it's moving at a pretty good little clip there. I can be looking right at the phone and reading that. I'll demonstrate for you real quick, just so you can. I'm going to do this very thing, and I'm just holding the phone right here, so you can see it done. It's Home Tip Wednesday, and here is this week's tip. Label storage bins for easy access. If your garage or attic feels more like a black hole than a storage space, labeling can change everything. Use clean bins when possible, or clear bins when possible, and add bold, easy to read labels like holiday decor or camping gear. It'll save you time, and it will also make cleanup a breeze. That's my home tip for today. Okay, that's easy enough. And I'll just show you. It's Home Tip Wednesday, and here is this week's tip. Label storage bins for easy access. Look at that. I'm looking right at the camera. Feels more like a black hole, but I'm reading. Space. Labeling can change everything. Use clean bins when possible. And so I just wanted you to see that because it's a great tool. That's Big View, BIGVU. It does cost $49.99, so it's $50 every 6 months. It's a subscription, not the cheapest thing, but if you're creating a lot of video, it's a great tool. I just thought I'd share that with you as kind of a pro tip. So I would suggest you actually take these Facebook post ideas, record videos, and one of our mastermind partners actually had suggested in a meeting recently, we were kind of talking about this, and he suggested, well, Blake, why don't you be standing in front of, like, if it's something about your water heater, standing in front of your water heater and actually do the thing that it says to do in the tip. Great idea. If you've got time to do that, absolutely you should do that. I was just showing you how you can knock it out quickly and create an entire year's worth of content. You can either do it with graphics, as we just saw, or you can create your own video. That didn't take me long. I I have that video now. I could throw that on Facebook and have a home tip. And I would suggest you do at least one of these a week. But my suggestion would take another category. This one is home tips that I kind of stuck with. Go with one of the other categories, maybe the tour, or one of the other ideas. You can ask ChatGPT to give you, if you don't like the ideas, ask Chat to give you another 20 ideas. You'll get great ideas and great feedback. Mike, I think I've hit everything I need to show us how to do this all in 20 minutes. I know it took a little longer than 20 minutes, but I think you get the idea. So I think we can open it up if there were any questions.
Blake, that was fantastic. What a great presentation. And you zipped through that pretty quick. Let's do this. Let's make sure we get everybody's questions answered. First of all, I have a couple quick questions. How do you spell the name of that teleprompter program, Big View?
Yeah, it's Big View, BIGVU. Let's see if I can I could type it in the chat, I guess. BIGVU, Big View. That's a teleprompter.
Cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Let me run through here. And again, everybody, you can either raise your hand, we'll unmute you, and you can ask a question, or I'm going to try to go make sure I caught anybody who wrote a question down. Let's see what we've got. Oh, we already got that one. And I think I went back too far. This is interesting. Okay. Oh, there we go. All right. I thought I had a question there. Is this a business or a personal account, the Chat GPT? Do they have different types of account, personal and business?
They do. This one happens to be a a business account. However, it is almost the same as a free personal account. I could have easily done this as a personal account. I just happen to a friend of mine happens to have what's called some oh, what do they call these things? So some tools that he's put into it, and so I used some of those, and I needed to sign up with his business to do that. I used some of those tools, but that's not the vast majority of what ChatGPT is doing and what you need it for, you can do absolutely free. I know we have another member in our mastermind group, Mike, that Angela, just uses the free one and she uses it every day. So you definitely don't have to pay for it. And if you pay for it, the first level of payment is $20 a month. And that's to give you some more memory and things like that. But I don't think you even need to pay for it unless you find a need to pay for it. I don't suggest you pay for it.
This is good stuff, Blake. Let's see what other questions I had. And again, everybody, if you have any questions, be sure to type them in the chat or raise your hand and we'll make sure that Blake gets you an answer. Let's see. So, okay, so that graphic you had Chat GPT create, really cool. I was amazed how quickly they put that together. In the past, I probably spent an hour or more trying to track that down and put it together. So that was pretty neat. Is it royalty free? So is the photo, it popped a photo in there and it also had your text. Is it royalty free? Are you going to run into any problems? Do you know, Blake, whether it has any trademark infringement issues or if it's royalty free so it can just go
It,
out there?
there it is. Do you see that? Yeah. So it is royalty free. Uh, I guess unless the court decides to do something different with ChatGPT, it is. ChatGPT presumably created this. That is, I mean, that's what it purports to have done. This is not a photograph. This is not a stock photo. In fact, I'm going to ask it just to rerun it. And while we're here, and put a crack on the wall and move the hands. Move the hands and put a crack in the foundation. And let's see, it'll take it a minute to generate. It does take, about 60 seconds or so for it to generate the graphic, but we'll do this. But it is royalty free to answer your question because it's coming from ChatGPT as an original piece of content. And they do not, a better question might be, does ChatGPT hold the rights to it? No, they do not. They give them to you as the creative idea behind them.
Cool. Hey, Blake, while that's putting kind of running itself in the background, a couple other quick questions for me. One is you've just got, this is all pretty new. You've just gotten started playing with it. You're probably just a little ahead of the rest of us, which is awesome. Thank you. Uh, Common mistakes that you have either bumped into yourself or someone that you talk to is bumped and they're trying to do this, they run into any common mistakes when using Chat GPT and then you made a switch and you got a better result?
Yeah, great question. First off, the first thing I would say is that ChatGPT does, like with these images, you're going to see it is common for it to change the image completely, even though I just asked for a crack and that sort of thing. Um,
Wow, that is really
it
cool. It put a crack in there.
it put a crack in the foundation for you now, and look at that.
I'm
And
impressed.
see the hands. That's a little bit different arrangement there. There's no the other image. I can move it.
Have it a little lower.
There's the first one.
Yeah, it has that
Notice,
seal.
yeah. See, it's got part of the siding up here, and this one has the crack down there. Anyway, pretty cool.
Zoomed in. That's neat.
But a lot of times it will maybe misspell something down here. I did one the other day with a graphic, and instead of inspect, it might have put two S's there. INSSPECT. Just silly stuff. So you do, I mean, there's no question. You need to look at it and don't ever assume that it's correct. There used to be a big problem with AI having hallucinations, and it still does that to some degree, where it just purports something to be true that it just created out of thin air. Um, and you should be careful about that. A home tip, you're pretty much going to be safe with these particular things that we're talking about here. You know, as long as you don't have it quoting interest rates and that kind of thing, you're probably okay. Um, it's yeah, I'm trying to think of any other issues that have come up. I think another idea, if you really want some superior graphics, is to take these ideas, these tips that we just came up with, and you can use ChatGPT to give you a creative idea on the image. You know, you can still have it create this image and utilize that if you want, but I would say throw it into Canva, which is a superior graphic design tool. If you're using Canva, this is a great way to get your ideas and then actually illustrate them in Canva. Canva is going to be better with a lot of fonts. It'll have fonts for you. It'll do really well with your graphic, your logo, your photograph. I could have added. I can add images and stuff to it by hitting this button right here where it says plus. I could have added a photo or a file, and it could work from that photo. I could take a photo of my house and and have somebody with their hands on my foundation. It could be that way. So that's why it's really amazing how you can utilize this. Any other questions?
Like, that's fantastic. Thank you for doing that. I've got a question here from Susan. She said, can you manually correct these spelling errors?
That is a great question, and I have not been able to do so, and I'll tell you why. It's not a graphic, um, interactive graphic tool. Now, this you can go and I could be wrong. They may create it that way soon. Things are moving rapidly in AI, and understand that even the things I tell you today may be different tomorrow. I mean, this is a basis you can start with, and as we're all going to learn over the months and years ahead, better ways to utilize AI. Even just a few months ago, I would not have been able to produce this image as good as it looks now. But no, I'm not able to like click on the graphic and change the words. I just clicked on it. Well, it did make it bigger, didn't it? But I'm not able to edit those words. But I'm gonna try it just to because there's a tool in ChatGPT called Canvas, I think is what it's called. So I'm just gonna ask this the image. Okay, put on a canvas the image. It's kind of stupid, but that's what I'm doing. And let's see if it'll. Okay, it's not going to let me. Anyway, when it's a canvas, actually did not take the actual image, but it used the text here. And you can edit words here to change your. You can do that when you put it on a canvas. Anyway, that's next level. We won't go into all that. It would not have changed the graphic. I could not have just corrected the spelling.
Like, this has been awesome. Thank you for walking us through the presentation, as well as answering some questions. And Susan said she did get her answer and she loves it. Thank you. I will give 60 more seconds for any questions that you are burning questions that you missed or you just came up with. Otherwise, we're going to wrap this up. If you have a question, type it in the chat, or I'm just waiting to see, or just raise your hand. All right, don't see any. Let me do this. Let me just, and if I see your question pop up, I'll make sure to ask Blake before we wrap. But Blake, this was a fantastic presentation. I really appreciate you taking the time to come out and share with us today.
Absolutely. It's been a lot of fun getting to use this tool, and I try to share it with realtors when we have time to do that.
Fantastic. Well, again, everybody, thank you for joining us. You can watch the replay. We're trying to record this, assuming we get that done right. We'll be putting that up on YouTube, so you can go back and watch this, get those prompts that were being typed in. You can take your time and look at that real close. The YouTube channel is Rams Agents Talk Real Estate. Rams Agents Talk Real Estate, that's the channel. By the way, this presentation was sponsored by Rams Agents at Epic Realty. If you want to learn more about us, please go back to the person who invited you to this meeting and be sure to watch out for our next Rams Agents Talk Real Estate presentation. Everybody, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate your time. And again, I hope this was beneficial in some way. Blake, thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Absolutely. It's been a pleasure.
All right, everyone, take care. Bye for now.